to the Mashup, my musical algorithm, where we combine coding in that world of computer science with GarageBand and digital music using the beat sequencer. This lesson is a perfect fit for any STEAM classroom or technology lab. Kids are going to make their own beats using GarageBand's beat sequencer, and then they're going to chart those beats in Google Sheets. So they're transferring that knowledge from one medium to another. Talk about backpack worthy. This is it. Let's talk about standards, specifically the Kentucky Academic Standards for Computer Science. These are the 4 standards that this lesson hits under the concept of algorithms and programming. That's what the AP stands for in these 4 standards. The E is for elementary. When we think about breaking this down, in any really backpack lesson really should take you more than one class period, if we're going to be honest. Anything that's backpack worthy. So this is a 2-class lesson, and so we start with the first class, class 1, where we introduce the lesson. We do the computer programming video for BrainPop Junior. We introduce the beat sequencer. We give students time to create their beats, and then we save those files from the iPad. And then we give our formative assessment or exit slip. And then class 2 is all about transferring that knowledge from class 1 into Google Sheets and charting those compositions. The beat sequencer is found in GarageBand, and it's just a grid of 128 square blocks where you can touch and tap on these different blocks to create different patterns, and it will create different beats. And on the side there, you've got 8 instruments, percussion instruments that can be swapped out. And so we talk about student choice. No 2 students are going to have the exact same artifact or exact same beat when we talk about using that beat sequencer. You might be thinking, how are coding and digital music related? Well, they're actually really closely related. And the easiest connection to make is around the idea of loops. Here you see in this code.org puzzle, this Angry Bird is moving forward 5 times. So you're essentially looping that move forward 5 times. The algorithm or set of instructions is when run, move forward 5 times. Let's apply that same thinking to our beat sequencer here. We have our grid. I've got a kick drum for 8 squares. I've got a clap for 4 squares. And I've got a crash for 4 squares. So instead of when run, I've got when play, and I'm going to repeat my kick 8 times. I'm going to repeat my clap 4 times. And then I'm going to repeat my crash 4 times. So my algorithm is when play, repeat kick 8 times, repeat clap 4 times, and repeat crash 4 times. A great way to set the stage for these 2 classes is to start off with a BrainPop Junior video on computer programming. If you don't have a school license to BrainPop or BrainPop Junior, similar videos can be found on code.org or through YouTube, or you could even have a class discussion on some of these terms like algorithm and what coding is, how do we program things. Those are all things that are talked about in this video. And when I'm using BrainPop Junior, I love to pause the video and discuss with my class every time a new question pops up in Annie's notebook. So for example, here you see, how do you code? What are some kinds of programming instructions? And then we have a term there, algorithm, which is really important to this lesson specifically. After you've introduced the beat sequencer and GarageBand to your students, it's time to turn them loose, and they can create their own beats and patterns in GarageBand. And so that's what they're going to find out is music sounds good because there's a pattern to it. It's not necessarily just chaos and stuff all over the screen. If you were to fill in every block, it's going to sound pretty cruddy, honestly. And that's what you see here. This is Emily Cockle's class, a 3rd grade class at Norton Commons Elementary School. This kid has a nice pattern going. He's got 5 different instruments, but there's a definite pattern there to his work. And so he's going to have a really good sounding beat. Here you see another student with a pattern. They've got 7 different instruments, and they've got a definite pattern as well. So they even have a closed hi-hat that's that light blue color all the way across their grid. It's time to save student work. So how are we going to get this composition or beat off of the iPad and into our kids' Google Drives? Here is our student composition. The first thing we're going to do to save this is to press the My Songs in the top left corner of the screen. Now when we get to this screen, we can press and hold on our composition. We're going to get this menu that pops up. We want to press Share. When we press Share, we want to format this as a song. The quality does not matter. It could just keep it high quality. Press Share in the top right corner there. And then press where you want to save this. You want to save it to your Google Drive? Yeah, absolutely. Tap on your Google Drive icon. It will pop up with where do you want to save this in your Google Drive. You select a folder or just choose My Drive and you hit Save here. And then finally upload there in the top corner. And then it's going to upload your composition. The whole idea of Class 2 is that we get from this, our GarageBand grid of 128 squares, to this, our Google Sheet, where we've got 128 squares, and we transfer the same pattern from GarageBand into Google Sheets. And then we write out the algorithm. When play, what happens first? What happens second? How many times does it repeat? And then finally, what happens last? So here's what that looks like. Kids would highlight the cells in Sheets, and then they would go to the fill bucket and choose the appropriate color, orange in this case for the clap. Then they would go to their next set of cells. We're going to highlight 6 cells. We're going to turn these pink. And then finally, the last set of cells in our algorithm, the open hi-hat. And we're going to turn those the light blue color. And then we're going to write out, well, what's happening? We're starting with the clap for 4 cells. When play, just like when run, when play, we're going to repeat the clap for 4. Next, we'll repeat the kick drum 6 times. And then finally, we're going to repeat that open hi-hat 6 times as well. And there you have it. Here you see a student from Miss Cockerell's 3rd grade class at Norton Commons Elementary School holding up their GarageBand composition and then that same composition graphed into Sheets.